and get started. So something I like to say when we open this conversation is, for anyone that's looking at this for the first time, I want you to look at this as if you're an investor. So think about this from an investor mindset. And I say that because a lot of times, obviously we're all here to look at a real estate brokerage opportunity, but it's more than that. There's a lot more going on, and you need to start thinking a little differently about your real estate career in general. So when I say think of this as an investment opportunity, what I'm actually saying is, if you invest your real estate business into this opportunity, if you think about any investment opportunity, you're going to ask two key questions. You're going to ask, number one, how much? And number two, what's going to be my return? What's going to be my ROI? And so as you're evaluating this opportunity for yourself and your family and future generations, ask yourself those questions. If I invest my real estate business or my real estate career into this EXP opportunity, will the return on that investment be bigger? And my guarantee is it'll be bigger than any other opportunity out there. Okay. I haven't seen a better opportunity than this to plant your business. Think of your real estate career as if you are building a massive farming operation. And if you're going to go out and select some ground to build a farming operation, you want to know that ground is mineral rich. You want to know that it's fertile soil. And so if you're going to plant your real estate business into this opportunity, I guarantee you there's no richer soil to build your operation inside of. And I'm going to go ahead and prove that throughout the rest of this presentation, but that is the promise. The promise is, if you invest your real estate business into EXP, the return will be exponentially greater than at any other opportunity. So thanks again, everybody. This is the intro to EXP Realty. I'm Brian Culhane. I was the first president of EXP. I'm one of the founding members. I've been working with Glenn Sanford for over 16 years. Glenn is our fearless leader. He's the chief visionary, chief thinker, I think is his new title right now. But Glenn is also the chairman of EXP World Holdings and was the CEO for many, many years. I met Glenn about 16 years ago. Like I said, I am a proverbial rags to riches story. Left Chicago with all my clothes in a garbage bag, headed out west, jumped in a car with a buddy. Again, all my clothes in a hefty synth sack, collecting unemployment. Did not know what I was going to do with my life other than I thought I was going to get into real estate in some fashion. Prior to leaving Chicago, I was doing some sales work in the commercial real estate space, selling advertising, selling due diligence services, selling whatever I could. And that got my whistle wet for real estate. And then when I got out to Arizona, the first thing I did was I used my last $400 to get my real estate license. And while I was in real estate school, I started applying for jobs, just over brokes. And one of the people I ran into while I was doing that was Glenn Sanford. So I met Glenn Sanford literally off of a Craigslist ad, and he hired me after one interview. So he literally brought me into real estate, made me the team leader for his expansion team. Glenn was running 6 teams. He went from 0 to 6 teams simultaneously in about 2002, 2003. He was a website developer. He was a coder, a programmer. He was an internet entrepreneur, and just a consummate entrepreneur. I think Glenn said he had started something like 16 companies before he started EXP. It's the classic, fall down 16 times, get up 17. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. And so Glenn had fallen 16 times, and then the 17th time he created a $10 billion global company, right? So we weren't born on third base. Let me put it that way. Glenn was squatting in his house when we launched EXP. They didn't even have enough bandwidth to kick him out. They had foreclosed on his home. He was literally traveling the country in an RV van. I couldn't be broker. I literally put the broke in the word broker, and together with a shoestring budget and some hustle and some elbow grease and a couple tech people, we created EXP Realty. That launch was in 2008. Excuse me, that was in October of 2009. So 08, 09, right? Or In October of 09, we launched eXp Realty Washington State. It was somewhat the answer to a question that had been posed to the real estate industry that said, could the traditional real estate brokerages reinvent themselves to sort of cater to the new emerging consumer, the internet consumer, the new emerging agent? If you think about who is the customer of a brokerage, it's actually the agents. EXP's consumers are you and me, the real estate professionals. Our customers are the buyers and sellers and investors. But from a real estate brokerage standpoint, the consumers of a brokerage are technically the agents. So we are all agents. I was an agent. Glenn was an agent. We wanted to create a very agent-centric company. We were sick of the pain of the traditional real estate industry. We were sick of the feast and famine cycle. We were sick of the make money, spend money, broke, do it all over again, start over every year, do 10, 20, 30 homes, rack it up, start again, do 10, 20, 30 homes, rack it up, start again. And we were sick of that. Glenn often said he wanted to create an opportunity that gave real estate agents an exit strategy from selling houses. Or another way of thinking of that is he wanted to create something for us that would exist long past our last sale. Unfortunately, in the real estate business, you're only as good as your last sale. You could do this for 20, 30 years. And if you hit a 3-4 month dry patch, you better have been a good saver and a good investor, because if you get, hit a dry patch, or your market, maybe no fault of your own, maybe something happens in your market, maybe there's a flood. We've seen this recently in a lot of different markets. There's some wicked weather events that are devastating certain markets. I mean, across the boards. I had a partner in Baton Rouge a few years ago who lost 40 listings in a flood. He was the number one agent in Baton Rouge, and he lost 40. They didn't lose the listings. I mean, they lost their houses. I'm also still recovering from a breaking my hip in 2011. 10 years ago, I fell off a mountain bike and smashed my hip. I broke the ball off my femur. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 months. I couldn't put weight on my leg for 9 months. I had a walker. Believe me, folks, I did not have breaking my hip in my business plan. It just happened. I was being stupid and going around the block on a Walmart mountain bike. Nothing against Walmart mountain bikes, but they're not the best. And so I went over the curb, broke my hip, and now, completely cripples not just me, my physical body, but also cripples my business. And so thankfully, I was a part of eXp. This was, again, in 2011. We weren't even 2 years old. And that little piece of residual that I had accumulated was just enough to keep my family afloat. So these things can happen in your life. They can happen in your business. They can happen to your market. And so another way of looking at this investment opportunity called eXp Realty is think of it as a diversification play. We hear that term a lot, but the diversification of not just the location of where you're doing business, because if you take full advantage of the eXp opportunity, you can literally grow your organization into multiple markets, multiple states, and even multiple countries. And so, that's awesome. When it's hot, I'm out in Arizona, our market shrinks up in half during summer months. Half the amount of transactions get done, half of our population leaves. You've heard the term snowbirds, right? They all go back to their winter weather, and they get out of the heat. Well, that hurts our market for a few months. And so I actually still draw income out of Canada, out of Southern California, out of, all around the country and internationally. And so I'm diverse in the markets I'm also diverse in the amount of income I get and the ways I get income. I could do a whole hour on income, but income ultimately does not come in all the same shapes and sizes. Income is there's a vast array of ways you can make money. There's some low forms of income. We'll call them hourly, salary. These are transactional incomes. In other words, you're trading something for something. You're trading time, blood, sweat, and tears, something for something else, but it's transactional. In other words, you do it once, you get paid once, and that's it. It's a transaction. The transaction's completed. and you don't continue to get paid. You close a deal, you get paid once on that deal. You don't continue to get paid, year after year after year on that transaction. There are other forms of income, however, I call those wealth building incomes. And what you're going to see here in this presentation is by doing nothing more than you're already doing, which is selling houses, helping buyers and sellers, and interacting with real estate professionals, you can actually start to add through this EXP opportunity, you can actually start to add additional income streams to what you're already doing, your sales income. Because here's the thing, hourly income, salary income, transactional income, commissions, contracts, all of those incomes have one thing in common. It's you. Okay. In other words, if something happens to you or happens to me, and I've got all my eggs in a sales basket, and you break your hip, guess what happens to that income? Stops coming in. If you can't work an hour, you don't get paid an hour. If you can't work a year, you don't get paid the salary, right? So think about this stuff, folks. I'm not wishing ill will. I mean, by the way, you could want to take a month off and backpack through Europe. You might want to just have a few weekends off to spend with the kids or the grandkids. So these are big topics we're going to talk about today, but this is the answer to the pain of the traditional industry. Think of EXP as like medicine for what ails us. Okay. And you just like you wouldn't take the cough syrup bottle and chug the whole thing the first day. Okay. You're not going to chug the whole EXP experience in your first sip either. Okay. There's a lot going on here. I'm going to cover some of it, but I can't possibly cover everything that EXP offers you in your business because it's a lot. It'd be similar to asking me to describe what a smartphone can do for you in 2 minutes. All right, go. What can this phone do for you? 2 minutes, go. You can do a lot. The real question you should all ask yourselves is, what do you need? What do you need this model to do for you? What do you need for your business? What would be helpful? So start thinking about these thoughts as we go through some of these tools and incomes, because again, in my opinion, if you do real estate for a significant period of time, all roads eventually lead to this model. Whether you put some of these elements into your own business and you stay where you're at, or you do what you're doing and continue to do your thing, that's great. More power to you. I mean, there's a lot of great brokerages out there. There's a lot of great opportunities. But the reality is, if you do implement this model the way we can show you how to do it, you're just going to make exponentially more money over the long haul. And eventually you will have the ability to exit rich. Okay. That's Sharon Lecter. She's a partner of mine. She just wrote the book, Exit Rich. Because it's funny, we're all business people in real estate, but a lot of us don't think like business people. Glenn said to me very early on, he said, Brian, every real estate agent, as soon as they get their license, the first thing they should do is start a brand and then call themselves the CEO of their own brand. And then the next thing he said to me still haunts me to this day. And it haunts me in a good way. It's still, I mean, it's like he said it to me yesterday, but it came true. He said, Brian, your vibration levels are going to elevate. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? Vibration levels? Like, I'm just a sales guy. What does he mean vibration levels? That's some hokey stuff. Well, he was right, okay, because it's mindset. If I think of myself as the CEO of my own business, I'm taking 100% responsibility for my own career. And you are, in effect, by being a real estate professional, you are, in effect, a CEO of a Fortune 500 level company with all the bells and whistles, all the ability to earn that kind of generational income. And, oh, by the way, no one's coming to help you, okay? You're effectively responsible for all of it, all by yourself. Well, there's ways to do this that are smarter. There's ways to collaborate. There's ways to work together and join forces. And then there are brokerages out there that will compensate you differently than what we're conditioned to think is the way we should be compensated. For most of us, and I'm thinking a lot of people probably who are seeing this for the first time, you're just going to be sitting here going, what are the split? What are the splits? What are the fees? What are the splits? What are the fees? What are the splits? What are the fees? Okay. Because that's how we're taught to evaluate opportunities in the real estate space. You're taught to shop splits, but you shouldn't be asking what's the split. You should be asking, how much money can you possibly help me make? How much money how much of my life is going to be able to be changed by this real estate career opportunity that I'm getting ready to look at? That's the better question, right? You can tell a lot about somebody by the questions they ask, okay? And so if you're just sitting here dwelling on what's the splits, what's the fees, ask yourself, why are you thinking that? Why is that even important? Because the reality is, let's not compare splits. Let's compare, our tax returns. Because I'll make 1,000% more money in revenue share and stock than I would possibly give up in splits and fees to this company. Okay, I made millions of dollars last year from EXP. And I only gave him 13 grand. So that was my investment, right? Your split, don't think of your split as your split. Think of it as your investment into this brokerage. And I'll share with you a really cool piece. One of our stock awards we have. And by the way, here are the basics. This is the apples to apples slide, because again, some folks will seriously watch this whole presentation, and unless they see what the splits are, they won't think of anything else. They'll just be like, what are the splits? What are the splits? So we're 80-20 split. Okay. What does that mean? That means 20% of every dollar you make is going to the company up until you pay the company 16. So the company is capped at $16,000. That is the most EXP will take from you during the year in terms of splits. Once you pay 16, you go to 100% for the rest of your anniversary year. So for us, that's about 80,000 GCI, or roughly about 2.8 million in sales. Okay. So say if you're a $3 million a year producer, on average, you are a capper at EXP, and you will go to 100% minus a 250 transaction fee. That 250 transaction fee, however, also caps at 5,000 or 20 deals after cap. Remember that, because that's an important event in our compensation plan. If you do that, if you actually do 20 deals after you cap, or probably about 15 million in production, you actually get your $16,000 back as stock every year. We call that the Icon Award. That's the #1 award, and I'm going to cover that in a second in more detail. But just remember that 20 deals after cap is a big deal. And the other fees are, it's $149 to sign up. So that's literally your investment, $149. That's your upfront costs, if you will. And then it's $85 a month. That includes all of your tech fees. That includes the cloud office. That includes KV Core, which is your CRM and your IDX system. It includes all your marketing, your branding. I mean, everything you possibly need, way more than you'll ever use. All this technology is yours. Thousands and thousands of dollars a month worth of technology if you were to try and go buy it all yourself, or you can just join EXP and it's $85 a month. Okay. And then it's $25 transaction review fee and a $40 E&O that also caps at $500. Take a picture, write this down. This is also all over the internet. So if you just want to search for EXP Realty fee structure, you can search for pretty much anything on EXP online. All of our information is public. We're a very transparent company. We have to be, by the way, we're a public company. So we have independent auditors. We've got the Fed watching us. I mean, everybody's watching us. Competition's watching us. We're the fastest growing brokerage in history. We're the third largest already. We're the #1 independently owned brokerage. And so, everybody's watching us. So we can't be doing things, we can't be doing things behind the scenes. We can't be cooking the books. We can't be showing profit to be one way or another because again, we get audited. And so super transparent, which is helpful as an agent, just part of this company as a shareholder. I like to know that stuff. I like to know that I like to see what my executives are earning. I like to see what they're spending money on. It's important to me. So let's talk, I'm going to skip the revenue share. I'm going to jump to the stock piece first, because a lot of times when I start talking about the revenue share, people get a little squirrely. They start going, oh, that's one of those pyramid schemes, Brian. That's what my uncle used to tell me, pyramid schemes. Well, listen, pyramid scheme isn't even a real word, by the way. It's Ponzi scheme. That's the scheme. That's when you just take new money to pay old money, and there's very, very rarely even a product involved. And those are illegal, by the way. So we're not a Ponzi scheme, okay? We're just an agent. We're just an agent-driven company that rewards agents for helping us grow. So me personally, when it comes to the revenue share, I like a company that shares revenue with me. It makes my life better. It makes my family's life better. You're welcome to work for brokerages that keep all the money, but then they're the ones that get to enjoy financial and time freedom, not you. But let's just talk about the stock, because you can make a lot of money at EXP just closing transactions. Okay. So there's actually 5 ways you can earn or buy stock. And all 5 of them are based in a production event. All right. So we're all about production. I mean, that's like the only rap that I hear that people try and downplay EXP is, oh, they don't care about production. All they care about is agent count. Well, this couldn't be further from the truth. All right. And I've got a whole slide full of our production awards that we're winning year in, year out. But let's just look at the stock options. Okay. And they're not options. These are the options of getting stock, but they're real shares, trade on the NASDAQ. Some of these awards you're paying money for, so you actually get the stock awards right away. But let's just go through them. So sustainable equity plan, the first 3 here in the dark blue, you earn stock when you do your first transaction of the year. So when you do your first deal at EXP, thank you very much. EXP is going to give you stock. This kind of goes back to that comment I made earlier about Glenn saying, think better about yourself, call yourself the CEO, your vibration levels are going to elevate. That's part of that principle. We want you to be a shareholder right out of the box. We want you coming into EXP, you do your first deal, and thank you very much. You are now a shareholder of a publicly traded company. You are an owner of the brokerage that you work with, that you partnered with. You're not just a 1099 subcontractor at EXP. Okay, I'm sure if I went across the room and asked every single person in here, from Bill to to Matthew to every single person on here, that's Suzanne, and I said, Suzanne, when you were a 12-year-old girl growing up in Texas, I'm pretty certain you didn't dream someday of being a 1099 real estate assistant to the subcontractor, did you?
No, I would not do that.
Yeah, I mean, none of us were dreaming of someday being a subcontractor 1099 employee, right? I mean, that was just not.
But I was.
That was not a dream, right? So this is, but being a shareholder, being an executive, being a owner of a $1 billion company, that's kind of cool. That's a bucket list thing, owning stock and being a part of that stuff. And I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Suzanne, because I want you to share your story. I'm going to kind of go through. I'll just give everyone a little sneak preview. We're going to go through this presentation fairly quickly, and then I'm going to call on a few folks to just share some testimonials with how this company's changed their life. Okay, I'm going to keep it super simple. I think to me those are more compelling than just a lot of this razzle dazzle on the presentation. Okay, so you can get stock when you do your first deal. It's $200 worth of stock. You can get that stock every year. You can get stock when you cap. Right now it's $400 worth of stock. Again, when you cap at EXP, you pay 16, 80,000 GCI, or about 3 million sales. Now you get a nice little certificate, and instead of it just saying capper award, it comes in a little phony glass thing that you get from all the other brokerages. Our certificates actually have a dollar amount associated to them. Okay, stock certificates. And then you also get stock for everybody you sponsor when they do their first deal. Okay. That's nice. Hey, you don't have to sponsor anybody, folks. I mean, listen, don't even think about that stuff. If that annoys you, if that makes highs break out on your arms, that's fine. Don't do it. Okay. Let me do it. I'll do it. I'll talk to all your agents for you. Okay. How about that? I'll make you a deal. You just send them to me. I'll put them into EXP. But if you do like to tell your friends, if you do like to bring people along with you, if you like to inspire and motivate others and have them come join you, in the old world, you didn't even have a chance to really partner with other agents unless you were starting a team or starting a brokerage. And I say old world because, in my opinion, the history of real estate, there was really 2 classes of people. There was the owner class and the member class. And the owners got to enjoy certain things that the members didn't. The owners got to own, right? They got to own a piece of the asset. Franchise owners, office owners, et cetera. They also got a little piece of every transaction. They got to participate and share in the revenue. Okay. And the third thing they got to do was scale up. They got to add more agents. They got to open more offices. They got to go in across state lines. They got to open up in new markets. Now, as an average agent, you don't get any of that stuff. Okay, you don't get to own the brokerage you hang your license with, typically, unless you're with EXP. You don't get to participate. You don't get a piece of every transaction, right? That's the owners. They get that. You don't get that. They take a piece of every transaction. They don't give you a piece. And then, if you have to, make money for Christmas presents, or you got to make money for rent, and you go into the office, you can't add 10 more agents to your team, right? You can barely feed yourself. When you go into to tell your broker and say, hey, I need more money, what do they say back to you? Jeff Hannon, what do they say back to you when you in the old world?
Go sell some more houses.
Go sell more houses. You know what that said? You know what that translation for that is? You need to work harder, brother. You're not working hard enough, dude. Go work harder. I'm taking the kids on a month-long vacation to Cabo, but you got to work harder, man. So now at EXP, we actually give you all three of those abilities, and you can be with us for one day, and you can now participate in three what had been exclusively held in the hands of the owners. So we're changing the paradigm, right? We're giving the tools of ownership to us agents, and so those three stock awards are awesome, and they're vested over a 3-year period. If you're a team builder out there, or you've tried to build teams, or you've built brokerages in the past, you'll know that retention is very important. If you're going to bring people in, and you're going to train them, and you're going to pour into them, and you're going to pay some bills for them, and you're going to set them up with marketing fees and all this, pay for their marketing, pay for all their stuff. You don't want to lose them, but in the real estate business, the average agent will spend over the course of their career will change brokerages 5 or 6 times. So think about what all the stuff that agents and brokerages are trying to do to keep agents around, even team leaders, right? You could be a top mega team leader, but you almost don't want your agents to get too good, and you don't want them to get, you lose the good ones and you lose the bad ones, right? And so you're stuck with this I call it the mediocre middle. You're just kind of playing in the middle, or you're trying to tamp down your good ones so they don't get too good. Well, in our model, we actually encourage growth. We encourage you to bring people in. You don't have to feed everybody. You get to basically, just turn them on to a great opportunity. So let's say you're an icon. We talked about this earlier. That's 20 deals after cap, or 15 million in volume roughly. If you're an icon, you get your $16,000 cap back as stock. All right, let me put that in perspective. All right, if you would have been an icon agent with us in the first year we had this program, first year we had the program was 2015. So 6 years ago, right? 5.5 years ago. In 2015, you guys can look this up. EXPI is our stock ticker, EXPI. In 2015, I think we were trading at like 20, 30 cents a share. So let's all divide $16,000 cap by 30 cents a share. It's 53,000 shares. Okay. Well, this year in 2020, we doubled. We split. The stock split. So that means if you owned a share, you ended up with 2 shares. Okay. So this 53,000 shares, if you had hung on to all of it, would now be 106,000 shares. Last time I checked the stock, which was 10 minutes ago, we were in like 34. We're at 34.57. So I'm going to multiply this number of shares times $34.57. It's 3.6 million. Okay, so what does that mean? That means if you would have invested your $16,000 cap into the EXP opportunity 5.5 years ago, you'd now be sitting on 3.6 million in stock. $16,000 investment. It's not a lot. You were going to sell that 15 million, or back then, by the way, it was 8 million. Okay. If anybody wants to raise their hand and say they sold 8 million in 2015 at another brokerage, I dare you to raise your hand, because you left 3.6 million on the table thinking that you were at a bigger brand, or you were closing it at a swankier brokerage with all the cool kids, right? Well, guess what? The cool kids are making millions of dollars at EXP. Okay. We're the new cool kids, right?
Real quick.
Sorry, somebody's got their mic on. If you could turn that off. They often say we don't have a culture. You know what? We do have a culture. It's a culture of success. It's a culture of creating millionaires. Glenn's single purpose is to create more millionaires in the history of any other company in the real estate space. possibly any company. All right, before we're all done. So that stock award's huge. And then the last stock award is the agent equity program. That's when every time you close a deal at EXP, you can put up to 5% of your gross commission into buying discounted stock. So I'll just use some real basic numbers on that. Let's say you do about a $350,000 home sale. You help a buyer, help a seller. So $350,000, 3% commissions, roughly about 10 grand. So you would have gotten a $10,000 gross commission. 5% of that would have been $500, would have automatically come out of your account. Now, by the way, you opt in. You don't have to do this. You should. You don't have to. There's people kicking themselves that didn't opt in. They've left lots of money on the table not opting in. So you definitely want to look at this hard. I need that extra $500, bro. Trust me, that's a major mistake. But that $500 buys you $600 worth of stock because it's discounted by 10%. So you just made money. You just made money buying the stock. Okay. You could literally turn around and sell that stock, even if it doesn't go up a penny. Now, since we're talking about stock and since we are a publicly traded company, let me just say I am not an insider. Okay. Even though I was one of the founding members, I was the first president, I was the chief culture officer. I am basically just a retired shareholder from corporate. I'm not retired. I could, but I'm not. But I'm no longer a part of the executive team. And also nothing I say is official company business. Okay. Stock is stock. It can go up. It can go down. Consult your stockbroker. I'm not making any income claims. You might come over to EXP, sell 0 houses, make 0 stock, and make 0 rev share. Okay. That's very likely possibility. All right. But for the smart ones, and the ones that do understand this opportunity and the ones that do jump in with 2 hands and 2 feet and go all in and push all their chips on this opportunity, the sky is the limit. All right. Maybe even space, beyond the sky. All right. I mean, if I made one mistake at EXP, it's not thinking, just truly understanding how big of an opportunity. And I helped start it. So believe me, if I can not understand how big of an opportunity it is, don't feel bad that there's other people out there that don't quite understand what we have in our hands. And I could probably go down the line and call on every person that's with EXP that's on the call today, and they'd probably say something similar. Okay. If I hear one thing uttered commonly in the cloud hallways, it's there's 2 phrases. One, I wish I would have joined sooner, right? That one I hear every day. And the other one is, thankfully I joined EXP. Right? Thank you you changed my life, right? Like that. I'm just a caddy. I'm just a bus boy from Chicago. I'm a sales guy. I did not start EXP realizing how many lives we were going to impact and change. And it's not just the income. It's also the people, it's the culture, it's the camaraderie. It's the energy, it's the collaborative experience that we get to tap into with all of these amazing entrepreneurial, tech savvy, marketing geniuses, team builders, business builders, organization builders. It's beyond belief. Okay. And that's the culture of EXP. It literally is a success think tank. All right. Any questions on the stock? How are we doing, Jeff? How are we doing, Steven? You doing okay? All right, thumbs up. All right, love it. Looks like you're taking a walk there, brother. I appreciate that. All right, so he's out in Carmel, so I'm sure it's gorgeous on the coast of Carmel, California. All right, so by the way, that's a great example though. Steve, partner of mine, he's out in beautiful California. He's invited me out to come visit. I've got friends in every state. I got friends all over the country that I got couches I can sleep on all across the United States, okay, and beyond. All right, so let's talk about the rev share. I'm just going to kind of go through this fairly quickly, and then we're going to open it up for some testimonials and start calling on some folks. At EXP, if you do so choose to, before I do this, let me just recap one more thing about the stock, okay? I've got people at EXP that I brought into this company probably less than 4 years ago. Some of them came over to real estate brand new. One friend of mine, Jesse Scheel, did his first full year probably 3 years ago. He was a capper that year, bought the stock at a discount, did really well. Second full year, he was an icon, So he got his $16,000 back as stock. Third year, he was an icon, bought the stock at a discount, started adding some people, got stock for that. I asked him the other day, I said, Jesse, how much stock do you got? He goes, man, I got 2.5 million in stock. He's not even 34 years old. I think he just celebrated his 33rd birthday. He's been in real estate less than 4 years, and he's a multimillionaire just selling houses. So that, in essence, that is the ultimate testimonial to this model. Just come into EXP, learn, take advantage of the tools, the technology, the collaborative community, tap into some of the smartest and brightest, implement what you learn, and in a short period of time, you're going to accumulate enough stock to where you will have the ability to exit rich, okay? All right, so, and by the way, he's 33. He's going to probably sell houses for the next 10, 15 years of his life if he doesn't become a professional surfer. And the guy is going to just continue to build wealth. I mean, at some point, he's going to have more money than he knows what to do with. And he's basically just like me. At this point, everything I do is now to build the trust for future generations. Okay, I've got enough money that I am officially financially free. I've got a lot of stock. I'll make millions of dollars in revenue share this year. So, you know, I don't need to do anything. I don't even need to do this call. The only reason why I'm doing this call is to help my partners. I want them to catch up, because to me, someone asked me this the other day, said, Brian, what's the definition of success for you? And I said, well, the definition of success for me is creating success in others. You know, that's my mission. I want to create success for others. I want to help you bring success out of yourself. You know, I want to help you achieve your goals, help you achieve your dreams. So that's why I'm committed to doing this for my partners. Because again, there's millions of things I could be doing besides this. All right, so cascading revenue share. It's great. What does that mean, Brian? It means you're going to make money on 7 tiers worth of people that come over. So if you bring somebody in, and they bring somebody in, and they bring somebody in, and they bring somebody in through 7 generations, you're going to earn or participate in the revenue. You're going to get some of the revenue shared with you on every single tier. But just look at the first tier alone. So that first tier, these are people that you personally sponsor. Again, you don't have to do this, folks. Okay, leave it up to me and Jeff Hannon and Suzanne to do it. We'll do it all. Okay, I promise. But if you do it, this is what you can earn. Okay, you can earn up to $2,800 per capper. So what's a capper? $3 million sales professional that does $3 million in volume. You just made $2,800. Oh, and by the way, you didn't make money off of that agent. You made money off of the company. Because in most cases, in almost every other case, those owners keep that money for themselves. And they send their kids to college, and they buy themselves fancy cars, and they send themselves on trips and take private jets and fly around the world. Okay, they take that revenue and they don't share it. And I'll never understand why we're the scheme because we share it, and they're the good guys and girls because they keep it all. Like, why are they the good and we're the bad? That makes no sense, right? So I'd much rather work for a company that shares with me the revenue for helping them grow than one that doesn't. Okay, you want to know what I got in my last company? Pardon me, I'm not wearing my business suit today. But so I was the #1 recruiter at one of the fastest growing brokerages, and this is what they gave me. Okay, it's not even real glass. Okay. All right. So I was helping that company grow, and that's what my reward was, right? They brought me in for a rubber chicken dinner, right? It was gross. All right. So, $2,800 per capper. You bring in 10 cappers, that's $28,000 a year. You bring in 100 cappers, that's $280,000 a year from introducing people anywhere in the country, internationally, throughout North America and 15 other countries. And we're adding 3 countries a quarter. Okay. So pretty soon it'll be, you know, tens, if not 50 countries around the world. All right. But let's actually go to something that's a little more easier to sort of absorb than this kind of interesting slide here. I'm going to jump over to what I call the revenue share calculator. This revenue share calculator is actually not an official company tool. Somebody created this. I put it online. It just happens to match up perfectly to the EXP model. And so I use it just to showcase how the money flows. Again, you may join EXP, not bring a single person. You're not going to get a single dollar shared with you. Okay. But the smart people, the people that understand the power of the force multiplication effect, the people that understand leverage, the people that understand passive income, the people that understand wealth creation, you will bring people over. And if you do bring people over, this is how the money flows. I'm just going to use an average of $1 million producer. Okay, so 4 deals a year, 250 average deal. That's a total of $1 million in production every year. That is very bad. That's not good. Okay, you're not even full time, in my opinion, right? That's less than 20,000 GCI. Okay, it's not a lot. And so, right, is that 20,000 GCI? What is that? 20 something. So $1 million GCI would be times 0.03. So it's about 30,000 GCI. All right, so 30,000. So your net is going to be less than that. All right, so how many people do you think? Just think of a number. You know, I could go around the room here, but just think of a number in your head. How many people do you know in real estate? Okay, done a deal with. See their billboard every day when you drive to the store, see their name on a grocery cart, you got them in your cell phone, social media, you're part of networking groups. How many licensed real estate agents do you think you know in your life? Okay, think of a number. And then think about how many of those people you'd be brave enough to just say, hey, can you get on a Zoom call with the guy who started this thing? It's a pretty cool opportunity. It's going to change my life. You might want to come see this. Worst case scenario, you'll probably pick up some cool tips or tricks or maybe some mindset stuff that might help you. But just jump on this call. You know, you don't have to know everything about EXP. Just get them on this call. Okay. By the way, if you were invited on this call by somebody else, see how hard they're working right now. Okay. This isn't hard. I'll do this for you, or they'll do this for you. Okay. I know a lot about a little at EXP. All right. Or a little about a lot. All right. That's why I do this. You know, I've been around, I've had a front row seat. I know a little bit about everything. And so I'm happy to do it. I can do this in my sleep. And, but I make myself available to the people that don't have this on lockdown like I do. Okay. So I want to help you fast. I don't want you to have to spend 2 years figuring it all out and understanding and unlocking the tools of it's like getting somebody a mechanic's toolbox and, dumping it out on the table day one and being like, okay, build me a shelf, So, you take the right tool out for the right job, but I understand this comprehensive model, but I want to share with you guys and gals the most important pieces. Okay. The big picture stuff. And then if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to the person who did invite you and put them to work a little bit. All right. So let's say out of those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents that met, worked with, or will meet, you bring over 4 in your first year. Okay. So 1 every 3 months. All right. That's reasonable. Does anybody want to raise their hand and say that's completely unreasonable, Brian? Like there's no way I can bring in 1 person every 3 months. Okay. I don't see any hands. All right. And let's just say, just to kind of speed this up, you're 4 bring in 1 each. All right. So watch this. So you bring in 4 people who all do $1 million in production. You just made $4,000 a year from those people. And by the way, you're not making it off them. I want to make sure everyone understands this. When you take a referral commission, like if you refer a buyer to somebody in another market, you actually are making money off that agent. Like you're taking money off of their deal. But in our model, you're just taking money away from the company's money. Okay. So that $4,200 is coming from the company's side, not the agent. All right. Now, but let's see those 4 people on level 2, you're just making $240. Well, here's what I want everyone to remember. There's power in the number 5. Every 5 people you personally sponsor, you're going to unlock another, we call it the exponential bonus or the super bonus. Okay, so every level beyond 2, you need at least 5 people to unlock level 2, 10 unlocks level 3, 15 get you 4, 20 get you 5, 25 get you level 6, super bonus. Okay, but let's just say, watch what happens when I just turn this to a 5. So I just added 1 person to my front line who then, added 1 person to level 2. So now I have 10 people in my group. They're all doing $1 million in production. Watch what happens to that 250 number. Now it's $6,000. Now I'm making $11,000 a year. That's like $1,000 a month. That's a nice car payment. That's that's half of a rent payment. That's that's a lot of money. That pays some bills. Okay. You bring in 1 person a quarter and maybe 2 over the holidays. and they all just bring in one person that entire first year each, you're 10 people, you're making 11 grand a year. Okay. Now I'm just going to put ones in for the rest of this. This means you're at your average. Everybody else in your entire organization, other than you, brings in one person for their career. All right. And you can, so let's look at year 2. Let's say by year 2, you've brought in 10 people. Okay. So you're making that 10 grand on level 1. You're making 12 grand on level 2. You're making 7,500 on level 3. You're closing in on over 33K for the year. Okay. And again, everybody else is terrible at this. They're not doing what you're doing. All right. Maybe year 3, you're at 15. Okay. 15, which also unlocks level 4, right? Now you're at 56K a year. That's a good 3-year goal. Bring in a whopping 1 person a quarter, 2 over the holidays, 5 a year for 3 years. But here's where it gets exciting. Okay. Your people aren't just going to sit back at 1. They're going to start getting people on Zoom calls. They're going to start telling their friends. They're going to start bringing over their cousins and their mothers and their kid brothers, like me and my brother Matthew, who I talked out of being a tour manager for Grammy Award winning bands to come get into real estate. But I'm sure he didn't mind touring the world and putting on concerts for 150,000 people in Istanbul. But he saw the big picture with this, and he said, I can make a lot of money. He's 33 years old, and he jumped over here with me. But so let's say those people start catching on, and now everyone just brings in 2 people on average, right? So look at that. That's a good number. Okay, all you did was bring in 1 person a quarter for your first 3 years. Everybody else just brings in 2 people total. So 15 who bring in 2 each is 30. 15 who bring, 30 who bring in 2 each is 60. So you probably have, a couple hundred people in your organization, right? Not thousands, a couple hundred. And so that's what your total would be a year. All right. And so on and so on. I'm just going to put this at 40. 40 unlocks all 7 levels. Okay. So that's 5 million a year. All right. Hey, Brian, that's ridiculous. Let's not go that crazy. But 40 people, you can do this. You can do this in 5 years. You can do it less. I've got people who do it in 1 year. I've got someone who just did it in 1 month. Okay. Her name was Elena Cardone, but still, she did 40 people in her first month. All right, but she hustled. I actually have somebody that she brought in named Claudianne. Claudianne Hibbard is bringing in 2 people a day for her first 6 weeks. She's literally averaging 2 people a day. She's doing Zoom calls every day. She saw me do this 2 or 3 times, and now she does it 2 or 3 times a day. And she's getting 40 or 50 people on every call, and she's putting them all under her organization, right? So you can go as big or as little. You don't have to do this, but you should. But it's very lucrative if you do. All right. Here's a couple other scenarios. Here's another good first year goal for everybody. How about bringing 5 people and help those 5 bring in 5 each? So 5 people who bring in 5 each. That's 30 people in your entire group. Okay. And you're and they're all terrible at selling houses. This is a good end of your first year goal. 5 people bringing 5 each. You're looking at about 35K at the end of your first year. Okay. How about 10 who bring in 10? Right? Here's a good 5-year retirement plan for those that don't even want to do this. Like, you have to try to do less than this. How about 2 a year for your first 5 years? And they do the same thing. You're 10, bringing 10 each. You got 110 people. Everybody sucks at selling houses. You're at $130,000 a year. Is there anybody out there that sees this and right now wants to say, Brian, this is stupid to waste any time on? Like, I refuse to attract anybody. Like, this will never work. Is there anybody out there that wants to pop on their mic or raise their hand and tell me why this will never work? Okay, it actually works amazing. It actually works every time, okay? You bring somebody in, they sell a house, you get paid every time. If they sell a house and their friends sell a house and their people and their people and their people, you get paid every single time. Okay, it works every single time. I see it work. I know people that I see the checks. We talk about it. We share it on little private chat groups. I've got people that are making 6 figures a month. I got people that are making close to 7 figures a month already. And they weren't co-founders. They didn't start this at the beginning like we did. Okay. They came in a couple of years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're already making close to $1 million a month. They just get after it. They are just like relentless because they see the opportunity. They understand that opportunities like this don't come along very often in life, where you can get in on something that's literally ground floor, barely 10 years old, okay? only 10% of the way towards our goal. Our goal is 500,000 global in the next 3-4 years. Okay. That means we're only 55,000 agents of 500,000. That means there's still 90% left to go of the pie that doesn't have fingerprints all over it yet. But this conversation is also happening probably 1,000 different times today. You know, we'll be 10,000 agents by the end of this year. We'll add more agents in the next 6 months than we added in the first 10 years. That's what's happening. All right. So you want to I mean, if there's anybody who wants to just get off this call, sign up so they can start calling their friends, I would encourage you to do that. Because every minute we waste not doing this is like 20 minutes on the back end. Or every 6 months you don't join is like adding another year on how long you're going to have to do this to reach financial. Because that's the power of the exponential force multiplier. Okay. All right. So any questions on the revenue share? By the way, here's what 1,000 people in your organization looks like. 10 to bring in 10 to bring in 10. 1,000 really terrible professional real estate salespeople. All right. So any questions on the stock? Any questions on the rev share? I'm gonna kind of go around the room. Do we have any questions in the text chat? I see Marissa's kind of answering some stuff. I see some other people are answering some questions. Is there anybody that's seeing this for the first time that wants to pop their mic on and ask me a question or tell me how ridiculous this is? Or we're good? Thumbs up. Everybody good? All right. Let me kind of see who's in the room today because I want to start calling on some folks. And again, listen, if you're new to real estate, let me just speed up through the rest of this. If you're new to real estate and you're going, Brian, that's great. I can make a ton of money, but what are the tools? What are the training? What else do I get? What are the other bells and whistles? What do I get in my package? You get a lot. Okay. You got health insurance option for starters. You're going to get technology. You got a 3D immersive office environment. You're going to get KV Core. You're going to get SkySlope. You're going to get business cards, marketing, tools, training, support, EXP workplace. I mean, we've got more tools, more training, more support, and more education. I mean, just look at our education calendar. It's ridiculous. Okay, our calendar beats everybody. You know, most real estate calendars, you either got to go into the office, whatever the broker's teaching that day or that week. Maybe they appointed the young guy in the corner that knows how to, you know, create Facebook. He's now the tech person, right? He's teaching a tech class. You know, the techiest real estate agent in the room. Or maybe you got to travel, or maybe you got to pay for events, or pay for training, or pay for coaching. Well, we offer all of it in our cloud office. All you got to do is click a button, figure out what classes you want to take. Not just classes. There's collaborative stuff. There's team events. There's other businesses in here. All the tools that we provide, we do training on and coaching on. We do masterminds. We've got state meetings, broker meetings, country meetings. And what's really cool is everybody around the world is coming into this one location. We're all collaborating. We're all masterminding together every single day at the speed of light without having to leave the confines of your home office. You can bring your laptop to Starbucks. You could be sitting in the lobby of the Hyatt. Oh, by the way, who might you meet sitting in the lobby of the Hyatt? Maybe some buyers and sellers that are in town. Maybe put a little sticker on the back that says free real estate advice. Ask me a question while you're sitting there in your cloud office taking a cloud class or meeting with your broker or whatever. Because really the only thing we don't have to give, the only thing we can't get back in real estate is our time. And so be careful what you're spending your time on. If you're spending 3 hours out of your day to drive down to an office for a 1 hour class or a 1 hour meeting, okay, that's a lot of time lost that you could have been more productive with. Me, I could do 3 meetings in the cloud office in 3 hours and be boom, 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 boom. No ramp up time, no downtime. You know, all I got to do is find the right hat to wear and get in my meeting. Okay, that's it. That's the EXP cloud office is just a time saver and a money saver. And when we save that money, we just give it back to the agents through stock and rev share. Glenn's we just posted a slide. We've actually given out over $2 billion worth of equity since we went public in 2013. $2 billion worth of equity we've shared back with agents just through the stock, not touching the revenue share. Revenue share is multiple millions. So the training's great, the tools are great, the education's great, the people are great, the collaboration's great. I mean, all that stuff is awesome. Our package of tools, training, support, lead generation, marketing, transactions, everything top of the line, best of the best. If it's not something we can go out and buy and give to you at a low cost, we'll just create it ourselves. Because that's the kind of company this is. It's like a tech company disguised as a personal improvement company, disguised as a startup, disguised as an IPO, disguised as a real estate brokerage. Okay, there's a lot going on at EXP. All right. So any questions on anything I forgot to cover, anything that somebody would like me to go more deep on?
I don't know if I want you to go more deep on, but I have to say the value of this organization supporting each other is anybody can get a coach to help themselves, but not everyone can have an organization with you and the lead and me helping and other people helping that'll make sure they access every.
Hey, Susanna, you're cutting out there, but at the end, but I wanted to just double down on your point because that's really it in a nutshell. I mean, if you think about being an independent agent in a real estate business. Suzanne, either my connection's bad or yours is bad. Judd, do I sound okay still? Okay. Thanks, bye. So Suzanne, hold on one sec because you're cutting out, but let me double down on your point real quick. So Suzanne's talking about the power of having these partners at EXP that care about your business, that are invested in your success. You know, that's something I put on my email. I'm invested in your success. That's not just lip service. I genuinely mean that. In other words, if I'm not helping you be more successful, then I'm not making as much money as I could be making. So I'm invested in your success as a sponsor. Okay. And as an organizational sponsor, you know, I sit on top of thousands of agents around the world, and I try and pour into everybody. I try and make myself available because if you're not making money, I'm not making money. It does me no good just to sign up the 50 or 60 people on this call today and then never see you again. You know, we do clubhouse stuff every Wednesday. I do team training every Tuesday. We've got an entire cloud office, obviously, and that's on top of what EXP offers. You know, the tools, the training, the support, you can't even possibly use it all or take all the classes that EXP offers. But then on top of that, we as the Culhane Group's organization or the Suzanne Fuqua Group or the Jeff Hannon Group, you know, we're also adding additional value on top of what you're already getting from EXP, right? So super powerful stuff. Hey, let me go to, I'm going to actually kind of mix it up a little bit today. I'm going to go to Jeremy Moss. Jeremy, are you on the call? Yeah. Hey, Jeremy. All right. So why don't you kind of give us a little bit of a testimonial from your perspective and kind of what you were doing before you came over and then kind of how it's been going for you.
Okay. Let me get back in the office here. But I came from a completely different industry. So I spent 20 years in financial services. I'm here from Chicago. So I worked in the financial district downtown here at the Chicago Board of Trade for about 20 years. So I've known Brian, you know, a real long time, basically our entire lives. But, you know, so I have a little different experience from the 9 to 5, you know, taking the train downtown every day. It was a fantastic company, great collaboration, great culture, just like EXP. You know, I respected everyone in the room. I could stand up, look around at my desk. But it was still, you know, working for someone else at the end of the day. Other people, you know, kind of going into boardrooms and making decisions. So it was an electronic trading company. That was, you know, one of the many things I loved about it. They use technology to more quickly get to transactions. So it's high frequency trading. You know, obviously, you know, knowing Brian on a personal level, getting to know him better on a professional level, you know, continually understanding more about EXP and the model and the way they structured it was really what kind of spoke to me and kind of what I felt, you know, was kind of being presented to me as I understood it better and better. I had to change my mindset, and it was a shift that probably took, you know, anywhere from 3 to 6 months because I was ready to just go back into my own industry, continue doing what I knew, stay in my comfort zone. But with the help of Brian and a lot of other agents, partners, people I worked with, and I was able to see that there was kind of a better way to do this. And I think, the reason Brian is just asked me to talk about this is, I'm not a real estate agent. I do friends and family deals. I understand EXP in and out. But where I came from with my background, it's just the value proposition goes so far beyond real estate. I mean, the compensation model,
That's it.
the splits, is just on its own, I think, is better. And every agent I've talked to, there's a reason. Really, the top agents are the ones coming over. They've been through, the battles, and they see that EXP rewards agents. So these shifts have happened in every industry. It happened in my electronic trading industry. Technology evolves, and the companies that employ that and are leveraging that are the ones that are going to get the deals. So we're getting the agents, we're getting more deals. We're publicly traded. The stock's light years from where it was even last year at this time.
Well, that's an important piece, Jeremy, because you see companies, you've had a background in trading and watching, Wall Street companies and NASDAQ companies primarily. And, you've seen a lot in the business space. Have you ever seen an opportunity quite like EXP in any industry?
No, I mean, EXP outperformed. I have about 100 stocks in my portfolio, Tesla, Zoom, right, that we're on now, Peloton, all these. EXP outperformed all of them last year. And, I respect the other brokerages, right? EXP was kind of born out of KW. We all got to remember our history, Compass, Zillow, Redfin, these other companies are out there. But the way EXP uses technology is the empowering the agents to leverage the technology. I think some of those other companies have a different mindset, and they use the agents, to leverage their technology.
Right.
I think EXP empowers the agents. From where I come from, that's the difference maker. I think people see that value. Whether you're someone who's been in real estate for 30 years or someone like myself who's just been in real estate for 3 years. And the real shift, the best part for me, honestly, was I did like the people I worked with, but they kind of came and went because they were at the whim of the company. And with EXP, the mindset is, like Brian said, you don't have to build an organization, which is effectively what you're doing and choosing who you want to work with.
Yep.
But if you do, they structure it so that you are rewarded because what you're doing is growing the company and you're growing your company.
I love that.
And that's the biggest thing to me is, you're sitting here and you can, you've already got an organization out there, right? You have networks, you have clients. Now you have agents that can also be clients if you so choose.
Yep.
And you pick who you want to partner with. I mean, Brian has hundreds of agents, thousands of agents that he partners with, right? And
I love them all equally. No, real quick, Jeremy, let me jump in, and then I'm going to go to Heather here next. So Heather, get ready if you can. Pop your mic on if you're listening. But I want to go to Jeremy first, just because Jeremy brings a business mindset to real estate. He looks at things like like an investor. And so I wanted to open with Jeremy because, again, people come to this opportunity from all different angles, right? All different walks of life, all different financial footings. And so I wanted to, because Jeremy effectively cashed out and retired from his last company. He saw what we were doing. And by the way, this was 3 years ago. We weren't doing nearly what we're doing now. And so Jeremy's been integral in helping partner with me, create a lot of these opportunities. And now he's really pouring into our entire organization. He's one of my chief strategy officers. And again, I mean, I basically talked him out of retirement to come do this with us. So thanks for doing that, Jeremy. Heather, are you available?
I am. I just kind of lost my voice, so it might be hard.
It's okay. Well, do your best. And just real quick, because I know you have a lot of guests on today, I just want you to tell a little bit about yourself, your story, and then kind of what EXP has been able to do for you since you come over.
I mean, I've only been a realtor for 2 years. I joined EXP a year ago. I came from a small brokerage that gave me nothing, basically. And once COVID hit, they didn't know how to move on into like technology, and everything was happening in the office before that. So it just kind of like everything died. It was like try to go out and get business, but they had no support. So I was looking for other things. I looked at different brokerages local to me, and they just didn't offer what I wanted. I'm very technology savvy, so I needed something more, I guess, technology wise, trainings and all that sort of stuff, because I didn't get that before. And when I came across EXP, it just made sense to have the training, to have the coaching. And then now that I've obviously gotten more into it and, showed up at events, met you and your wife and Haas and everyone. And it just really felt good to know that like I was a part of it and not just a small person and all this, in 50,000 agents. So that was really cool to be able to experience that. But other than like the training and the coaching, and I've taken advantage of all of the university and all the back office stuff. And then now I'm working on the revenue share part, because I don't want to chase houses for the rest of my life. I want to
You bring up an important point, Heather, and
bigger.
I want to keep this somewhat conversational because, in the traditional world of real estate, your path to being the best is pretty narrow, right? It's like just you got to sell a lot of houses to be in the top two. But you just kind of described at EXP how you see various paths where you can excel and achieve, become a leader, right? For example, you've got 5 or 6 people on this call today. Thank you for doing that. But that's being a leader in this organization. Like she said, she's barely been with EXP. She's barely been in real estate, but she's recognizing that she could quickly. I mean, you were just at that event with us and Tarek and some pretty heavy hitters in the room. Sharon Lecter was there, Lisa Copeland, Haas Pratt, who are a lot of these people are your sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Or in your upline. So what other opportunity could someone who's maybe less than 2 years in the business, any business, right? Less than 2 years in the business, less than a couple months with a company, and all of a sudden she's walking red carpets with people who write books and are the #1 cable TV show, and she's shaking hands with co-founders and executives of the company. And I just don't see that happening in too many other industries and brokerages, right?
It doesn't.
Well, thank you for your share. Go ahead.
No, you don't get to go to other brokerages and go, to big events with the top people. It just doesn't happen like that unless you're lucky and know certain people.
Right, or maybe you are tops of the leaderboard and you get to go on the exclusive, weekend Cabo trip. Well, thank you very much, Heather, for being a leader, for jumping in with 2 feet and kicking butt. I'm going to go to John Mazurlian. If John, are you on?
I am on, Brian. How are you?
Good, sir. Could you maybe just give everyone a quick testimonial?
Yeah. So about 3/4 of the way up. That's basically where I live, by the way.
Well, hey, I'm going to share these pictures because I just want people to kind of see what's happening behind the scenes here. But go ahead. I'm just gonna thumb through these while you talk.
Yeah, sure. So I started in residential real estate probably 2010, and shortly after that, Brian actually reached out to me, and that's when he started EXP. He was one of the co-founders with Glenn Sanford, and they were very small then, and that's probably why I didn't come in. And it took me a long time to kind of see between the weeds, as they say. But about 1.5 years ago, I started talking to Brian again, and I finally actually looked at the model, and I realized this is the only company that pays us in 3 different ways. And for me, it's as simple as that. I mean, every other brokerage out there, you make money by representing buyers and sellers, and you have to do that at EXP. But on top of that, you can make revenue share, which Heather was talking about a little bit, by referring agents to the company. And then there's publicly traded stock. I mean, we're on the NASDAQ. I got my stock shirt on right here. It's just cool. I mean, you got 2 other ways to make income. And what really I didn't know until, and you don't really know, I guess, until you come on to EXP, is the collaboration. Because we're so technology driven, because we have to be, because we don't have any bricks and mortar offices, everyone is connected. Brian's in Scottsdale right now. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. We're connected through Zooms all the time. We're connected through Workplace on Facebook. We're connected through the EXP world. I mean, I got 12 agents in Portugal in my revenue share who I'm connected with.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. I mean, we're not just a real estate brokerage. That is the big difference between us and, let's say, Compass and, Douglas Elliman. Like, who cares? Name 100 of them, right? And Jeremy said it. Like, and I agree. I have respect for these other brokerages, but you can only do one thing at these other brokerages, Someone said it a while ago, this is the entrepreneur's brokerage. And that's exactly what it is. You all that aren't at EXP, you're realtors, you're self-employed, so you might as well, you're commission only. You might as well go to a place where you're not handcuffed, right? All these other places, I feel like I was handcuffed. And yeah, that's why I chose EXP. And
how's it been going for you?
So 14 months in, I have, doing about $250,000 in GCI every year. Well, the last 12 months, I guess.
You did Icon in your first 6 months, right?
I hit Icon. EXP gave me $16,000 worth of stock. I brought on 18 people to EXP. They brought in another 60 or so, actually more. I think I have 6 people in my revenue share group. That's giving me a residual income of $5,000. So in every way possible, this has been amazing for me.
I love that. No, you're a great story. And what's the one thing you always say to me, John? Because I said it earlier. I go, what's the one thing we always hear?
I wish I came earlier.
I wish I would have come earlier. I wish I would join. And by the way, folks, let me just say, people experience that because it's a no-brainer. I always say hashtag it's just math. If you add this stuff up, and you'll see over time, you're just going to make more money here. And then you start doing the next equation is, gosh, I wish I would have been making more money a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If you've known about EXP for a few years, don't be proud of the fact that you've been saying no all this time. That is not a badge of honor. That is a badge of ignorance. Because
it's funny because my other shirt does say it's just math. I wish I were.
I love that. Well, hey, I want to thank you so much. So we called on a brand new to real estate person. We called on a relatively new real estate agent who's already jumped in and kicking butt. We called on a top producer. Now I want to see Suzanne. Do you have your mic back on? Are you still here, Suzanne? Let's see. If Suzanne's not here, maybe we'll go to Valerie Vandezilver. Valerie, are you on? Because Valerie is a great example of someone who was an independent broker for basically her entire career. She saw EXP.
I am on.
Hey, Valerie.
I am on.
Good day. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thanks for the great call this morning.
Can you just, and I want to be somewhat brief because everyone, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But could you just share, a little bit about your background, what got you to come to EXP, and then just kind of some of your experience so far, with all the people you've met and everything like that?
I have been in real estate my whole adult life. I started selling houses when I was 21. And just like Brian, I answered an ad off Craigslist, went to work for a new home builder who saw something in me that I didn't even know existed, and the rest is history. So I've been a top producer in the new home industry, been a sales and marketing director for major home builders, had my own mortgage company, have my own property management company, manage vacation rental properties here in beautiful Southern California in Orange County. By the way, come and visit us. But a few years ago, I got the crazy idea to go to a Michael LaFido luxury listing mastermind, and I could have gone to Florida or to Chicago. I signed up for Florida, and then, I don't know, Brian, if you know this story, but then I'm from Chicago area, and I thought, that'd be kind of fun to be in Chicago in the winter. So I changed so that I could go to Chicago in January.
I don't know that. That's great.
And I did.
A fortuitous move.
Yeah, like who would go to Chicago? Who would choose to go to Chicago? Anyway, so I did. And I met Brian and Darren James, and I said, who are you guys? And Darren, if you don't know him, is kind of a quiet guy, and he showed me some of his crazy apps that he uses. If you don't know Darren James, he is a technology wizard and so quiet, easygoing. And I said, I don't know who you guys are, but I want to know more about you. So we kind of started talking, and and to this point, I had always been on my own. I never worked for another real estate company. When I started selling resales, I started my own company. I never worked for anybody else. I had been, at that point, I was a mortgage lender. I looked at how resale purchase agreements were written. And by that time, I had done about 10,000 new home transactions. So I'd never been with another company. I said, why in the world would I give up my independence to go to work for anybody? But I was just attracted to the opportunity that if I ever wanted to do anything besides transactions, this was going to be my chance. I'm a little bit older than most of you on this call. And so I knew that if I ever wanted retirement income, I couldn't start all over again. I had to do this. And I remember something that Brian said to me, and Brian, you probably don't remember this, but my situation was a little complicated because I had property management, I had mortgage company, I had the real estate company. And so for me to join EXP, it was a little bit complicated at that time with their model. And I remember that Brian said to me, I've got my speech ready. And if we don't let you come at this time, I'm going to tell management that you are who this company was made for. And I never forgot, Brian, that you said that to me.
I love that.
And you said that to me. You said, I've got my speech ready. If we can't work this out, I'm going to tell them you are who this company was made for.
I love that.
And I came to EXP, and I haven't done some of the agent attraction that some of you have done, but I love EXP. I would never leave. And I get calls from everybody that, come to this company, come to that company. I would never leave. And so let me just.
Well, and Valerie, by the way, I know, and obviously you're making attraction an important part of your business now, but you've been. Well, I'm losing you, Valerie. Losing you a little bit.
What you're like, and why this is better than being.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm gonna. You're just cutting in and out. I think there's a little bit of a lag, but we heard most of that, Valerie, and that's an amazing testimonial. And I just want to talk about you a little bit more, real quick. But basically, guys, Valerie is a titan in the real estate industry. She basically built Orange County from swampland to what it is today, and she was Zillow before Zillow. She was We Buy Ugly Houses before We Buy Ugly Houses. I mean, she had come up with all of these concepts long before, decades before any of these companies that we know of today did it. And to have someone like a Valerie Vanderzilver joining EXP was such a big moment in my career, because that was the big knock for years and years and years. Well, you're the big agents, the ones that are independent, they aren't interested. As a matter of fact, we just had an Inman article come out today, Inman News. If you look at EXP top teams, I think, hopefully this pulls it up. Why are so many teams suddenly joining EXP? Just came out 10 hours ago, okay? So this article came out 10 hours ago. Well, go read it. I mean, this article will probably explain it better than I even did today, but we actually converted over 48 brokerages and 27 or 28 of the top teams in the first quarter of this year. So listen, folks, you got to start asking yourself, this is the key question. Why are so many entrepreneurial, independent, successful, think about like the Cardones. So you just saw my little slideshow of all the famous people that are coming over to EXP, the Sharon Lecters. Why would Sharon Lecter, who wrote the book on success, literally Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, right? She's a part of all that. Why would Sharon Lecter tell her husband to go get his real estate license? Who, by the way, is like one of the top intellectual property attorneys in the world. They both are like famous authors. Why would she say, go get your license and do this? Do you think they needed another business, just for fun? Like, why would Grant and Elena Cardone, why would Elena spend the 30 days before 10X Growth Con, her biggest event of the year, where she had multiple speaking things and had millions of other things to do? Why would she spend that 30 days cramming for her real estate license so she could get in on this? Okay. Why would all these top teams, why would all these top agents, why would Valerie Vanderzilver, Suzanne Fuqua, John Mazurlian, okay, why would Bonnie and Judd Fox shut down their other businesses and jump into this with 2 feet and 2 hands and run and get their license and come join EXP, because the opportunity is bigger than anything else out there. Period. They're going to make more money. I'd love to say it's because of us. I'd love to say it's because of the culture and the people. And by the way, that stuff's all amazing. But at the end of the day, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You know, money's not everything, but money represents the ability to achieve time and financial freedom. And that's it. You know, for me, money just increases my capacity to help more people. My wife and I just filed for a 501(c)(3) yesterday. Okay, we dropped $6,000. We've got an asset and you know, basically our legal team, an asset preservation group. And we've effectively said we want to start. You know why we started a 501(c), by the way? Does anybody know? Rick, you probably know. Why did we start a 501(c), Rick?
Because you love sharing this opportunity so much, you wanted to have this as kind of like a legacy so that you could help people.
And what have we been doing already, by the way?
We've already been giving this opportunity to dozens of people just since I've been working with you.
How many scholarships do you think I've given out since you've been over?
Probably 40, I'd say.
So 40 real estate scholarships in the last year and a half, 2 years that my wife and I have paid out of pocket for. So I'm so invested in this opportunity. I'm such a believer in people getting into real estate and using this as a tool to create wealth. You just, you know, if you haven't created wealth and you've been in real estate, don't blame yourself. You're just not a part of a big enough opportunity. Because I'm not that good. I'm just gonna make more money than most residential real estate people will ever make in the history of real estate. Why? Because I'm just a part of a better vehicle called EXP Realty. It gives me more income for doing basically what I would have been doing at any other brokerage in the world, selling houses and interacting with real estate people. But because I do it at EXP, I'm compounding my wealth every single day, and I can take a day off. I can fall off my bike and break my hip. I can go play with my kids all weekend and go to games and not have to run around and show houses in 110-degree, you know, Arizona heat. Okay. And it's because of this company. It's not, you know, I mean, I'm decent. I'm all right, but I'm not the best in real estate. And I'm sure there's some people, most of you who've been in real estate are probably way better real estate agents than me. Okay. So you're just not a part of a big enough vehicle. That's what Glenn used to always say. He'd say, first, you got to figure out how big is your why. You know, why are you doing this? Why do you get up every day? Why do you put on your boots and go outside and try and kill the dragon? Why? So how big is your why? And then the second most important question is, are you a part of a big enough vehicle to allow you to achieve it? So what's your vision? You know, what are your goals? What's your purpose? What's your mission-driven life? You know, figure all that stuff out. That's like the number one thing we all need to figure out. It's not the brokerage that you work with. It's not the people, you know, that's all important. But until you figure out what your purpose is, then you're like a rudderless boat. It's always going to be the brokerage's fault, or somebody screwed you over, or they didn't pay you. You know, stop blaming other people. Start looking in the mirror and asking yourself, why are you not financially free yet? Have you even thought of this yet? Like, is this even a thought for most people? Like, and by the way, that's also not our fault. We're conditioned. You know, where's the book? Grant Cardone gave me a great book called The Psychology of Money. Go read this book. This book's amazing. It's like, it completely unpacks everything we think about money and allows you to rebuild your own, because a lot of what we think about money was taught to us by people who wanted to make money off us. You know, like saving your money. Guess who uses that money in the bank account, your savings account? You know, they don't just take your money and put it in the drawer in some vault at the bank. The bank goes out and puts that money into investments and cash flowing assets and puts it into REITs and hedge funds. And, you know, and they're making compounded money on your money that they're paying you 2 or 3% on to save it. You know, so just start thinking about some of this stuff. Another great book I recommend, Brandon Dawson gave me this book, but it's Beyond Positive Thinking. Okay, this is the law of attraction. This is how to decode everything. Just like the law of gravity works on you every single time, whether you understand it or not, so does the law of attraction. It works on us every single time, whether we understand it or not. Words, You are what you say you are. Thoughts become words, words become your reality. Think and grow rich, right? It's all the same stuff. Thoughts become things. Visions are physical. Speak your word. Abracadabra. In the beginning was the word. Okay, it's all the same. So start speaking what you want to happen into your life, and I guarantee folks it'll happen. And then be a part of a bigger vehicle that'll allow you to get there faster. Does that make sense? Hey, everybody, thanks so much for jumping on the call. We're right about the 90-minute mark where I like to kind of cut it off. Unless anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns. Brendan, did I cover enough material today? I like to ask. Go ahead, Brendan. Turn your mic on.
There it is. There it is. Great presentation today. Yeah, I mean, just kind of like my story. I going through school, I'm learning that they're never teaching us about investments. They're never teaching us how to retire. And so the more I went through school, the more frustrated I became with this. And so I read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and had to learn that basically life is about collecting assets. And so if you ever want to retire from anywhere, you need to be collecting assets. And to me, Social Security check is not going to cut it, especially in 30 years. Like, I'm sure it's going to be nothing at that point. So like, we all know this, we all see that it's coming. We have to create our own retirement plans. And so what I want to ask everyone on this call, and even young people, it's like, how many assets did you collect this year? How many properties did you pick up this year? How many stocks did you get this year? Like, what assets are you collecting to build this future? And so with EXP, I got into real estate because I wanted to be a real estate investor and I wanted cash flow. And so not just selling real estate and having boots on the ground and finding deals, but also sharing this opportunity with other real estate agents is like having a little cash flowing business, but without toilets, without tenants. You just, you want to support them because when they do well, you do well. So it was totally aligned with everything that I've wanted, and it's totally aligned with the collecting assets game plan. And so I just want to encourage everyone to really look at this opportunity. And if I'm selling real estate over the next 10 years, how much assets am I actually going to be collecting? And do the math, right, Brian? Hashtag it's just math.
Hashtag it's just math. Thank you, Brendan. You're awesome. Thanks, everybody. Heather, John, Valerie, I appreciate everybody. Jeff Hannon, I usually would call on Jeff. He's amazing. He's got a great story. Listen, folks, there's a lot of great stories in EXP. Do your homework. The flip side of it's just math is do your freaking homework, okay? Because we don't want you otherwise. We're not trying to beg people to join. We're not trying to hoodwink or twist arms or, this is for you and your family. Yes, it'll help me. Yes, it'll help Brennan. Yes, it'll help Heather if you join. But it's really about helping you. Guys and gals, this is what we're committed to. This is why we're doing what we're doing. And by the way, we're just getting started. I think at some point people start to feel like they missed the boat. You did not miss the boat. I've already explained to you, we're only 10% of the way in. This thing is going to be the biggest brokerage in the world. It's just, it's going to happen. All right. Power of positive thinking. We will be the biggest brokerage in the world. All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Go back to what you were doing. And hopefully I see you in the cloud office.